Barcelona have defeated PSG at their home 3-2, with goals coming from Raphinha, another one coming from Raphinha, another one coming from Christensen, and then on PSG's part, we had Dembélé scoring and Vitinha also scoring. But the fact that Barcelona were able to defeat PSG 3-2 is a huge freaking deal. And this is what I do want to say. Bravo, right? Bravo. Bravo, because this Barcelona team that we saw tonight, not only did they win 3-2, but they won in a manner of, we want to win in this game. Even if we're down by one goal, we're going to come up, right? The attitude coming from this Barcelona team from Xavi Hernandez has really changed. And again, that's a huge deal because this team knows how to react. They know how to react with all this adversity and chaos that comes in their way. These are leaders. These are players with elite mentalities. Barcelona were not this team 3 to 4 months ago. Barcelona were a team where they lost so many games, they were conceding so many goals, they couldn't come back on anything. But now we're seeing a Barcelona team that is united, a team that wants to win, a team that is fully backing Xavi Hernandez. And we did this during a Champions League quarterfinal. The last time Barcelona scored 3 goals in a away game in the Champions League was back in 2015, which was the final against Juventus. This really does explain the level that Barcelona are in. And not only are we playing better football, but like I have said, Barcelona were able to come back from huge adversity. And we did this with a very young team, with Cubarsi, with Lamine Yamal, with Pedri, with Raphinha, Araujo, Koundé. This is one of probably the youngest team in the Champions League right now, and we're playing beautiful football. Beautiful football. And guys, like, of course we're going to be playing like this. Like, of course we're going to be playing beautifully and with a lot of demand, right? Because we have Xavi Hernandez as our coach. And it sucks to know that right now Xavi Hernandez is not going to continue with us. I hope that results like this really does convince Xavi that he should stay and that we back Xavi Hernandez fully. I don't really want to make this about Xavi right now. I know that I'm supposed to be talking about like this match and how this match went, but it's just, again, there is no other coach out there that can bring the results just like Xavi can. But I am just so happy for this team. I really, really am. I remember like about 4 or 5 days ago, PSG really wanted to threaten us, these ultras, right? These people, whoever these people are, they wanted to send out these statements and say that we're bigger than Barcelona. We're going to threaten them when they come. They said something like this, right? They said, let's light up our legendary Parc of Princesses and let's be ruthless. Our only objective is victory, and each one must play their role thoroughly. Together, we are invincible. That is what they said. They said this 4 to 5 days ago. Like, guys, if you guys are new here and you guys are watching me for the first time, that was the whole agenda going up against PSG. These people wanted to speak before this game even began. And after seeing this result, I'm like, dude, what is so invincible about PSG? Tell me. I have said this multiple times. When you are facing a team that is individual, everybody does not like each other. There's this toxic environment going on with your best player and the coach. You're not going to be getting nowhere. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. And now the results are showing. And moving on to this game, I also do want to speak about the stats. We can see here that PSG had more possession than FC Barcelona, and we saw this coming because we talked about how Luis Enrique's PSG supposedly does portray the Barcelona style much better. In possession, yes, PSG might be better, but I think that this really does tell us a lot on just how effective Barcelona could actually be. Barcelona won with 3 goals, okay? They won with 3 goals and they had less possession. Barcelona, not once were they afraid with the fact that PSG were holding on possession. Barcelona stood their ground. That's a huge deal, guys. Like, it's a huge deal with the fact that the mentality of these players is so strong that even though the opponent had more possession, they said, we don't care, because the moment we have the ball, we're going to attack PSG and very effective, and we're going to be scoring goals. But guys, Barcelona is back, and with Xavi Hernandez in charge, he can make anybody perform. And I do want to call out Cubarsi, right? I really want to give a special segment to this player because I think that with the way that Cubarsi performed against PSG in this quarterfinal match, he played amazing. Let me tell you guys one thing. Kylian Mbappe, the best player in the world, against Barcelona, had 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 shots on target, and lost possession 13 times. The reason why Kylian Mbappe did not do anything was because of Koundé, Araujo, and Cubarsi keeping Kylian Mbappe in check. Those 3 defenders played amazing and they did their part. They knew what they had to do, and Cubarsi was always the one to pick up the ball right after to pass the ball to one of the midfielders or to one of the attackers. Cubarsi was our outlet and he had a great defensive display. These are going to be his numbers against PSG. 100% of his tackles were won. 87% of his passes were accurate. He had 63 touches, 48 passes completed, 3 clearances, 1 block shot, and that block shot was coming from Kylian Mbappe. Can you guys believe that? A 17-year-old goddamn center back was able to keep Kylian Mbappe in check. He was also considered as the youngest defender to ever start in a Champions League quarterfinal. And so again, like I have said, bravo to Cubarsi. There were so many times when PSG were pressing Cubarsi, and Cubarsi always saw an open man. Always. He was the most reliable player. You can give the ball to Koundé, Araujo, or Cancelo. That's fine, but the best player to pass it to is Cubarsi. He will always find you a way out, and that is what allowed for Barcelona to continue to play fluid and to attack PSG effectively. It was, by the way, one of the ways that Barcelona were able to score their first goal. We will be talking about that in just a few minutes, but the emergence of Cubarsi through this season has really transitioned Barcelona where they can be called as the dark horses for the Champions League. No one saw this coming. Nobody. PSG underestimated us, and many other clubs are going to underestimate us, and it's all thanks to Cubarsi. I would even say this: Barcelona's best midfielder against PSG was not Frankie, it was not Sergio Roberto, it was not Gundogan, right? Three players who started for Barcelona. The best midfielder for tonight, it was Cubarsi. Now, it was not all sunshine and rainbows. Like, yes, Barcelona had to suffer at some points in the game, and PSG were dominating the possession in the first 20 to 35 minutes. As you can see here in the attacking momentum, PSG had the ball like in total. Like, you don't see Barcelona in the first 25 to 30 minutes when it comes to the attacking momentum. But eventually Barcelona caught on. They saw the patterns that PSG were making when it came to them attacking, and Barcelona kept regaining the ball, and that is what led to Barcelona having huge attacking momentum right after. Barcelona were able to score the first goal with Cubarsi making an amazing pass to Lewandowski. Like, amazing. Like, if you guys have not watched this game, go look at how Barcelona scored the first goal. Cubarsi makes an amazing through pass, like cut through like two different lines of PSG. Lewandowski receives the ball, he starts dribbling through 2 to 3 players, he passes it to Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal receives the ball, makes a curl pass to Lewandowski. Unfortunately, it hits Donnarumma, but then Donnarumma's deflection of the ball went straight to Raphinha, and Raphinha scored the goal for Barcelona, and Barcelona were 1-0 up. And Barcelona continued to have more attacking opportunities. Like, for example, on the 40th minute, we saw Cancelo by himself, with Barcelona being on a 3 versus 2 situation with I think it was Gundogan and Lewandowski, and Cancelo was also there. There was only 2 defenders left. All Cancelo had to do was pass the ball to Lamine Yamal or Gundogan. I can't really tell who this is, but that's all he had to do. He eventually shot it, and that ball was just, it went nowhere. It did not even touch the goalkeeper, I believe, or nowhere near the goal. So it could have been 2-0 there. 2 minutes later, another goal scoring opportunity where Lamine Yamal had the ball from the right wing. He tries to dribble through the players, but then he eventually loses the ball, and I'm like, dude, that was another 3 versus 2 situation. We move on towards the third opportunity. 3 minutes later, and we can see Lamine Yamal by himself with Lewandowski asking for the ball, but he eventually decided to shoot the ball to the top left, but it went to like the top left of the stadium, not even the goal. And I'm like, it could have been 4-0 by this point. Barcelona had those opportunities to really make it over before the 45th minute, and I was getting really agitated because I'm like, dude, like if PSG end up scoring in the second half and we end up losing, I was just gonna call out like all of these plays here. Like, we had the opportunity to win this game. But this is where I do want to transition to the second half. PSG did something very similar to Real Madrid. Real Madrid have done this twice this season. Back in the Super Cup final against Barcelona, where they scored 2 goals within a span of 5 minutes. Real Madrid did it again against Man City, scoring 2 goals within a span of 5 minutes. PSG were able to replicate that by scoring 2 goals in 5 minutes against Barcelona in the second half. Luis Enrique made some tweaks that led towards Barcelona really suffering through those 2 goals. Dembele went on the left wing to be placed right behind Kylian Mbappe for more support, because Dembele originally was playing on the right wing, but then Barcola came in and he was put on the right wing position in the second half, and that is how Dembele was able to see the left wing position with Kylian Mbappe as a lone striker. And that was a huge shift for Barcelona, because they were like, oh wait, Dembele's playing on the left, what is Dembele going to do? And so he's acting like a Rodrigo type of player for Kylian Mbappe, very similar to the situation of Vinicius and Rodrigo at Real Madrid. It was almost the exact same story. So Dembele ended up scoring the first goal for PSG on the 48th minute, 3 minutes after the 45th minute. It went through like a couple of rebounds, whatever. Dembele scores the goal, and I'm like, dude, where were these Champions League goals when you were with us? And it's strange to me, right? I find it so strange that he celebrates in a way where he's like, I have been at PSG all my life and I hate Barcelona. He was celebrating as if like he never represented Barcelona. Usually when you score against your previous team, you don't really celebrate, but Dembele was wilding out there and kissing the badge, and I'm like, dude, remember who made you? And then 3 minutes later, on the 51st minute, Raphinha scored the goal for PSG and made it 2-1. And this is where the beauty comes in, right? Because this is where I was like, okay, can Barcelona react? Yes, they have made some mistakes in this little segment here because of this tactical change of Luis Enrique, but the question I had was, can Barcelona react? Can they demand authority? And man, guys, did Barcelona do that? Xavi also made some changes, took out Frankie de Jong and Sergio Roberto because they were starting to slow down in the second half, and Xavi made some adjustments. He placed in Pedri and put in Joao Felix. Yamal came out and Raphinha went on the right wing position, and then Joao Felix played on the left wing. Pedri came in for Sergio Roberto, and by the time we made those two changes, Barcelona were really demanding total control and total authority. And I said on Twitter, I was like, guys, relax. The reason why Pedri's coming in is because it's a way for Barcelona to demand more control, and that is what we saw, because there was too much chaos going on in the first 10 minutes of the second half. Too much chaos, and we needed to die down the game for PSG because momentum was building up for the team, and so Barcelona had to do something. That's why Xavi Hernandez made his tactical changes in response to Luis Enrique, and so we continued to defend PSG with all of our might, and we were doing amazing. And then came the moment where Pedri received the ball and assisted a beautiful ball to Raphinha, and Raphinha scores the second goal. And it was a special moment because Pedri just came back from injury. He finally played his first game after that injury, and he still made a beautiful assist to Raphinha. He was an instant impact. He only needed about 2 minutes to make an impact for Barcelona. It just shows you the type of levels of talents Pedri has in his disposal. Pedri is just too good. Pedri, after the match, did state this: "This is what I wanted coming on from the bench. Raphinha is a guy who doesn't stop running into space, and luckily we connected that way." And so since we're talking about Raphinha and his second goal, I also want to speak about Raphinha, because Raphinha, man, like, he scored 2 goals and he came up in a moment where Barcelona really needed him. Cubarsi was amazing, but Raphinha placed Barcelona forward. I would even say that Raphinha showed up much more in this game compared to Dembele in the Champions League. Raphinha already did more because Dembele basically almost did nothing for us during these Champions League rounds. Never. Raphinha did more. He showed up with more confidence, more authority, much more demanding, and he scored goals. He was much more aggressive. His work ethic is just insane, and I appreciate that because Raphinha kept pressuring the defense, and you can just tell that the defensive line of PSG, they were getting nervous because of the amount of runs Raphinha was making. Raphinha is the attacking version of Gavi. Let me put it that way. And he knows how to score goals. After Raphinha scored that second goal and we were level 2-2, he did the Neymar celebration in front of the PSG fans. Like, how much more petty can you be? I was just laughing. I was smiling. I'm like, Raphinha, you are the man. You are the player that we need. His off the ball threat is really good. In this game, he got into so many dangerous shooting areas because he knows how to attack the open spaces, like what Pedri said. And so I want to also give a lot of credit to Xavi Hernandez because he maximized Raphinha's runs by dropping Lewandowski deeper into the midfield. Every time Lewandowski dropped deep to receive the ball, Raphinha was already ready to make those runs behind the defense. And I loved every single minute of it. Raphinha also stated this after the match: "I still have more years on my contract and I plan to fulfill them. I will do my best to stay here for many more years." Not too long ago, guys, we were talking about how should we sell Raphinha for 97 million euros and send him to Saudi Arabia, but I just think that Raphinha is owning that left wing position. Guys, does this change Barcelona's current status on how they view the left wing position for this upcoming summer? Because he really is delivering. The only thing that we're missing now is for Joao Felix to do something on the left wing. And let me put this in here real quick. Joao Felix didn't really do anything in this match. I think that Raphinha is just much more effective. I know that Raphinha scored that second goal as a right winger, but still, like, he does well in both positions. A few minutes later, Christensen came in to score the third goal on the 75th minute. He scored a header after Gundogan made a corner kick, and I'm like, dude, the fact that we saw Pedri make an assist and Christensen scored the winner for Barcelona, I'm like, these two players, Pedri and Christensen, weren't even supposed to even make it in this match. Many were saying that Christensen might make it, he might not be fit, which is the reason why he did not even start. Many were saying that Pedri might not be fit and he might just come back for the second leg. These two players were not even supposed to be here. And so the fact that they showed up in this match and they contributed to the last 2 goals of Barcelona, I'm like, dude, Xavi is so lucky. Barcelona is so lucky that he had those two players as backups and as tactical tweaks, because it has worked out. Every time Xavi Hernandez made a tactical move through his subs, he was always 2 steps ahead of Luis Enrique. And so this was the Barcelona that we have been waiting for. A Barcelona where they have a coach that knows what they're doing and players that are willing to back up those ideas. I strongly believe that Barcelona are going to go into the second leg with full confidence. We're going to be at our home, and it is only going to get worse from here for the PSG fans and for the PSG players. Like, I'm sorry, I really am. I feel like Luis Enrique secretly is very happy that Barcelona won. I made like a little meme on Twitter, and I'm like, this is probably how Luis Enrique saw the 3-2 result. He was probably, a little happy. He was like, okay, in some way I am helping the team that I love the most, not PSG. But to everybody else, to Dembele, have some shame. Have some shame because you wanted to score and you scored with a lot of enthusiasm. You were screaming to the fans. You were not even acting like you never played for Barcelona before. You scored that goal thinking that you did something, but then the player that replaced you, Raphinha, scored another goal on top of you. He scored 2 goals. You scored 1. So have some shame, Dembele. Another thing that I do want to call out is the PSG Ultras. Have some shame. That statement was probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I am so sorry, but I just have to say that. Also to the PSG YouTube accounts, have some shame. You don't simply show your dislike for Barcelona before a match like this. You don't do that, because at the end of the day, like, you know, the only reason why you guys exist and why you guys are relevant right now is because of Barcelona. Like, you wanted to talk about how Kylian Mbappe was going to run circles around Barcelona, but then only to find out that a 17-year-old center back who was not even known 8 months ago stopped Kylian Mbappe. It just shows you how big Barcelona is. When do you ever see a youngster from PSG like come up and say, okay, this guy's going to be special? When? There's levels to this, man. There's big levels between Barcelona and PSG. I'm sorry, but it's over. You're facing a new Barcelona now. I also want to call out Movistar Plus. I believe that is what the channel was called or something like that. I don't know if it's a streaming service, but like they were making a racist comment to Lamine Yamal before the game. There's this guy named German Burgas who stated that he was speaking about Lamine Yamal and he said this: if he wasn't a good footballer, his real place would be in front of the traffic lights every night and juggling balls. I don't know, man. Have some shame. To you guys too. Movistar Plus, you don't say that about none of our players. You don't say that. And so overall, like to PSG in general, respect the creator, which is Barcelona, because the type of football that you guys aim to play is coming from your creator. The last thing that I do want to say is that Christensen and Sergi Roberto are not going to be in the second leg against PSG at our home because they have accumulated enough yellow cards. And so I don't know how Xavi Hernandez is going to adjust his team with the absence of these 2 players. We'll see. Most likely, I think that is going to be Frankie and Gundogan in the double pivot position with Pedri as the number 8. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know if that's going to be 100% for sure, but it's not like we have another choice. What if Xavi says, I'll place Cubarsi as a CDM next to Gundogan? That would be amazing, right? But we'll see. It's going to be a conversation that we are going to be having in a separate video, and that is how I'm going to be ending this match review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.